Hey, good morning guys. Welcome to this edition of Mike Reed Outdoors. Thanks for watching. Guys, today on this edition of Mike Reed Outdoors, I'm going to tell you some secrets on how to snare you a squirrel and have that thing to eat for supper. It's not as easy as some people make it look on YouTube or on television, so I'm going to tell you a couple of secrets that I found out over observations and over about a week and a half of snaring squirrels and trial and error. And I want to make sure you guys know just exactly how to set your snares and what to do and what not to do. So guys, I'm going to pick the camera up, take you over here to the pole that I've got set up here and show you just exactly how this stuff looks. Okay guys, you'll see the typical snare that I've usually been using to catch my squirrels with, and I have a lot of misses, or I'm missing a lot of squirrels with this particular setup right here. Now this is not just exactly how I set it up, because I usually make them things about 12 inches long, but what I've been noticing was I usually been making mine about 3 fingers size, and that ends up being a loop about just a little over 2 inches wide. Well, in my observations of this, guys, the squirrels are coming up here and they're actually jumping with their front feet through that hoop and getting caught by the hips. What happens when they do that is, I saw this live, guys, didn't get any video of it, but I saw a squirrel go through one of these loops of mine, and instead of panicking, the squirrel turned around and bit that 20-pound test copper wire completely in two and left with it. So what I decided to do was, I had an old squirrel head that was an old squirrel that I had case skinned. So I took that thing and sized that loop down to where that squirrel could just get his head through that loop, ears and head. And that way the squirrel will be caught by the neck, and when he does fall off of that pole or get off of there, he'll be hung by the neck. Okay guys, after missing 2 squirrels and actually seeing one of them actually cut himself loose from the snare using that little bitty dinky wire that I've been using over the years, and that's the reason I'm coming up to traps, and those traps don't have any squirrels in it and I'm still going hungry. I know that in a survival situation you got to snare with whatever you can snare with, but if you guys will make you some of these 1/16 self-locking snares, and these are self-made, you can see the lock right there that I made for it. Hope you guys can see that. That self-locking snare, that squirrel will never be able to tear his way out of that self-locking snare. And I just make a loop in it and loop it around the pole, and you're actually going to see a squirrel, a live squirrel that I caught on video for this video, guys, in a self-locking snare just exactly like this one. But anyway, I have set that thing up and then put it about 3 fingers off of that pole. These squirrels are tenacious little boogers, guys, and they're probably pretty easy to catch. I think they are, but they're little acrobats and they just rip and tear their way loose if you've got it up with something that they can cut into or chew into. But this self-locking snare, when he goes through that loop, that self-locking snare locks up. See how it locks up on my thumb right there? He's not going to get out of that, guys. That 1/16 cable is going to hold that food. But like I say, you're going to see a live squirrel in this video. But you'll notice what I've done right here is you see these things set up on video. They'll have, they might have 8 or 10 snares on one little pole like this. But what you do is, in this video, I found a place where the squirrels are feeding in the woods and running up and down this particular pine tree right here. And this is where I'm going to set these snares up to see if I can catch a squirrel. And there's also a pine tree right here behind me that's got a big nest in it, and I know that there's at least 2 to 3 squirrels using in that. So that's one of the things you got to look for. And here is one, guys. An old squirrel I caught by a snare. That makes the third one I've caught this week. Caught him by the hips, guys. He jumped through that smaller loop. But that's just the way it is sometimes. These squirrels are really tenacious little rascals. Acrobats, in fact. Okay, guys. There's a little snaring survival kit that I made up. Self-locking snares. You can make you a half a dozen or a dozen of these things. 1/16 cable cost me 29 cents a foot. And that's very cheap. And that's what I suggest that you do to put in your survival pack, so that your squirrels that you do snare, you'll get to keep them and they won't get away. And you'll notice in there that I've got washers in there too. You see those washers? Just bend them washers on a 90, and that's what makes them self-lock when they go up against the animal. But anyway, guys, I like to get out and try survival things so that to make sure that what I'm telling you works. And there's those wires that I've been using over the years. I've been missing squirrels. I actually watched squirrels run straight up the log that they were feeding off of, jump straight through them snares, and just keep right on going. I mean, right through the loops. So like I say in the video, they're little acrobats. They can just about do most anything. And another thing I noticed, that coming down the log, they actually jumped the snare loops. They didn't go through them at all. They actually jumped the loops going down. And I've been watching and observing this stuff for about a week and a half now. But anyway, like I said, you're going to see a live catch on this video right here, just so you can that I can show you that, yeah, that you can snare a squirrel. Hey guys, thanks for watching Mike Reed Outdoors. You all have a great weekend. Have a nice day.